Commissioner Goodell, I'm going to start with you. You have this program, NFL's Play 60, which is addressing obesity prevention. Talk to me about how cooperative the government is, and other areas, other communities in accomplishing the goals that you want to accomplish.
Well, they've been very cooperative. The program, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is not only to address childhood obesity, but also the other part of it is keeping our children active, which obviously it goes in tandem. So it's nutrition and exercise. And in fact, First Lady Michelle Obama has been very involved and got involved with Play 60 through her program. And of course, the Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vlasek, has also gotten involved. And he has done a terrific job of promoting nutrition in schools and using his forum to promote that. So I think the government's done a great job. Obviously, it's going to be part private sector, and that's what our job is to give that platform and try to push with the public-private partnership to get these programs into schools, to get our kids aware of the fact that this is a healthy lifestyle, not because you want to play in the NFL or MLS or NHL, but because it's an important part of your lifestyle.
The idea was, now that we're a mature league, or growing up to be a mature league, we had really a responsibility to give back to the communities, to have our clubs get more deeply engaged, not just with kids that are playing the game, but ways that our teams could make a difference. So it really started like the NFL's program with United Way or NBA Cares, a way to positively enhance the image of our league and our clubs. But at the same time, and I think Michael did a good job in talking about that, you could have sponsors that are using these programs to satisfy their goals. If, particularly in MLS, where we're the new kid on the block, if these kinds of programs could raise the credibility or the awareness of our teams, have them be more established in the communities, then that makes good business sense. And the extent you can do both is really a win-win for everybody.
We've gotten a real education starting from some of our players, former players like Mike Richter, who's been a proponent of going green and the importance of the environment for hockey. We say this and it sounds a little trite, but it's not so good for us if the ice keeps melting. And Alan Hershkovitz, who I think is here too from the NRDC, has made it a point of talking to us about the importance, and I think the NRDC has been very strategic in figuring out that we can probably reach more people than they can and get more attention. But more importantly, it doesn't always cost more money. So for example, we were the first league may still be the only league, to have all of our clubs involved with Rock and Wrap It Up. Now what is that? It started, I don't know, 20 years ago from somebody who was focused on rock concerts and the food that was left over at all the arenas and stadiums. All of our clubs now participate in a program where the food that has been properly prepared and untouched, instead of being thrown out, which last season would have been 105 tons of waste, is now used to serve 160,000 meals to people who might otherwise have been hungry. That's good business. It actually saves money. It reduces the expense of carting away trash and puts it to good use. So when you have programs like that, not very difficult to get your clubs interested.
And I'm also very proud of what our players do, and several of our players have their own foundations, and I don't think they really understand the complexities when they create a foundation. It is difficult to manage, it's difficult to create, and it takes real management, and they find that out as they go along. So what we did is create through NFL Charities a group, our community relations, our charities group. They focus on helping the players establish those foundations, understand it before they get into it, and give them some of the context that are necessary. And then we provide matching grants through NFL Charities for them to try to get them off the ground if the player is committed personally to it.
And I think amongst all of the leagues, most of these guys are really terrific guys. They believe in the particular cause. They're connected to it in some way because of a family experience or a personal commitment to a particular idea. And when you see that look in their eyes, at least when I do, Now, I'm not as skeptical as most media people are, but when I see that athlete engaged in that, you know, we had a young guy that's a Hispanic guy that played for our national team. He was involved in a malaria program. He was invited down to the White House to meet the president. And when he was sitting in the Rose Garden, he was crying. And I turned to him, I said, "What's going on?" He said, "If my parents in Honduras knew what was happening to me here today because of what I did as a professional athlete," and by the way, now he's an assistant coach in Philadelphia, said they'd be totally thrilled. And most of these guys just have it. And that's why they could make an impact. That's why we give them that platform. That's why fans like to see it. And that's why media like to say, "Oh, it must not be for real."
Well, talking about case studies, kids, adults, people whose lives have been impacted by a particular program which they wouldn't have known about or wouldn't have been possible without using sports as a vehicle. And to me, I think that's more important than picking any one cause and saying, you know, we're going to change the world. I think if we can impact some people's lives one-on-one, that's as important as anything else.
Let's give a round of applause for Roger Goodell, Don Garber, and Gary Bettman.